All right. So, second semester, which is kind of cool. For me, I just always think like, at this point now, especially after today, we're more than halfway through the school year, which is kind of weird to think about, but I don't know, if you get kind of down and out and like, man, this is going on forever, that's kind of good to think about. We are more than halfway to where we need to be, and every day we're a little bit closer to that. Grades for the semester. Hopefully, you kind of checked all that stuff out. Semester exams. Nobody's grade that was in the grade book is actually exactly what you got. If you want to know exactly what you got, please talk to me. But essentially, what I did is you either probably got a 70. That was if you just took the exam. And pretty much everybody, that didn't pass but got at least up to, I don't know, in the 50s, you got a 70. Then I think what I did for everybody 60 to about the mid 70s, I gave you an 85. And everybody that got at least an 80, I gave you 100. Weird system, but to me, I didn't want to, overly punish anybody based on just one test. Because the test, it wasn't bad, but, the one test, it's hard to really judge, what you've learned and what you know. So I tried to make it to where it didn't really hurt anybody. Hopefully it helped you. The only reason maybe you didn't get a 70, 85, or 100 is I was trying to bump up your semester average, like from a 69 or something to a 70, or a 79 to an 80, or an 89 to a 90, because I don't like to leave people hanging in that situation. But what you see in Skyward, that's like I said, had a little magic thrown on it. If you want to know your actual grade, you can come up and talk to me, and we'll take a look at that. But your semester average, that's really important. If you unfortunately failed for the semester, all right, it's not the end of the world. If your grade was really, really low, like below a 50, that's pretty much just dead and gone at this point because you're not going to be able to average it out. But if you are above a 50, especially like 55 and above, if you do well enough this semester, you could still average it out to a 70. So I guess what I'm saying is this is the start of a brand new semester. Who really cares what happened before? Do your best now. Even if you got like a 25 last semester, which I don't think that's the case for anybody in here, but some people did, you can still get credit for this semester. So let's try to start off on a good foot. We do have a couple grades coming up this week that hopefully will kind of build the foundation for you guys to do very well. And they're not very hard. Let's talk about grades real quick before we get to what we're doing today. You had your semester exam review, which was double weighted. That was due on Friday before you left. Technically, it was due at 1:05. If you got it in on Friday, period, I'll probably not count it late. But at this point, it is late. Even though it was due last Friday, that's going to be the first grade of this semester. So if you have not gotten that done, please get it in. Like I said, it's a little bit more valuable than your average daily grade. It's essentially 2 daily grades, even though it'll show up as only one. If you can get it to me today, it's only 1 day late. But you know the deal. The further you go, the more you're going to be deducted for that lateness. Today we're going to work on an assignment. It's a little bit document analysis. You're going to be reading both the Declaration of Independence from the American Revolution and the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen from the French Revolution. And essentially, through your analysis, you're just going to answer some questions, kind of comparing and contrasting the two. Again, we haven't talked about Enlightenment or Revolution for about a week or so, considering we're getting ready for semester exams and whatnot. So I think this will be a good way to kind of ease back into it, especially considering we're going to be finishing up political revolutions of this time period later this week. Then later this week on Thursday, you are going to have an SAQ based on the political revolutions we've done. You got your American Revolution, French Revolution, Haitian Revolution. We'll talk about some more Latin American revolutions tomorrow, as well as some waves of nationalism that we see where basically people in these various, usually European empires are really trying to struggle and form new nations of their own. But today, we're going to look at revolutions. So moral of the story is you got 3 daily grades coming out of this week. You got, of course, the semester exam review. You got the document analysis we're going to work on today. You got the SAQ on Thursday. Those are 3 relatively easy grades. So do your best to get them in on time, do a good job on them. And that really starts today with our declarations assignment. So let's take a look at it. And for right now, you can ignore the CAP poster. It's the same thing that's right up here at the front of the room. Refer to it if you need to. But let's have everybody go ahead and click on this document analysis assignment, Revolutionary Declarations. And if for some reason this isn't showing up on your screen yet, like I said, you may have to back out and log back in, or maybe refresh the page. So what I have here is 2 primary source documents that we've at least referenced, thus far. You've got, of course, our very own Declaration of Independence. And it's not that long, guys. I know you're thinking, oh my God, this is going to be forever, but it's like a page and a half. It's really not bad. Or actually, this one's about, 2 pages. And then from the French Revolution, a little bit later on, you have the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. Now, you're probably like, what in the world? What am I doing here? All I'm doing is reading. Yeah, that's right. This is the documents. These are the documents you're actually going to read. You're going to answer your questions in the next little link, and that's where you're going to submit your stuff, which is, takes forever to get to, right here, your document analysis assignment, Revolutionary Declarations. So this is where we have the questions. And they're pretty straightforward, okay? There's only, I guess there's 10 of them, but they're not that bad. So as you read the Declaration of Independence, if you want to download the Declarations assignment and kind of answer as you go, that would probably be the best idea. In what ways does the Declaration of Independence reflect key ideas of the Enlightenment? Now, you're going to have to think back to that. You're going to have to look at your Enlightenment notes. You're going to have to think about all the things that those people like John Locke and Voltaire were really advocating for. Guys, you're going to see some of those ideals reflected in both these documents. Give me some examples. What are some things that the framers of the Declaration of Independence, in this case, mainly Thomas Jefferson, what are some things that he was really advocating for? Next, based on the document, what were some of the chief grievances the American colonists had against the British? Really on the second page, it's a list of things that the British were doing wrong. Because guys, the Declaration of Independence, it was essentially a breakup letter. Okay, it was, hey, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, that's why we're not together anymore. Well, pick out a few things, based on the document, not just based on your preconceived notions, but based on the document, what are some things that the American colonists were ticked off about? And finally, and this is a really good one, in your opinion, has the United States lived up to the ideals described in the second paragraph of the Declaration throughout its history? Now, I want to look at this for a second, because this, you could go either way. It's entirely your opinion, but I want you to explain yourself. I mean, you look at the United States and our history and some of our ideals, some of the things that we've advocated over the years. You look at this second paragraph here, this is one of the most famous paragraphs in history. It starts off, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then they go on to talk about what a good government should do. In your opinion, have we done those things? Do we do those things to this day? No right or wrong there. I just want you to very fully and eloquently explain yourself. As long as you can explain yourself, you're fine. I'm kind of interested to see your responses to those. Now, 4 and 5, that's when we got to get into this dreaded CAP process. But guys, I don't want you to stress out about this. Context. What's the background information? Well, we talked a little bit about these revolutions. Give me some background. Intended audience. Who do you think this is for? Point of view. Who's it coming from? We know Thomas Jefferson, but who in general? What sort of perspective is being put forth there? And finally, the purpose. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. So in this model, you'll pick one of those. Hey, the audience is this. But then on number 5, on the next one, this is significant because I want you to explain how this particular outside force may shape what's in the document. Maybe explain why it includes certain things and doesn't include others. Again, all your opinion. But as you know, this is something we have to do in our DBQ essays. And the more we just think about this, the more that we talk about this, the easier it's going to become. Again, have fun with it, kind of use just your opinion, but make sure you go into some detail. And that's it for the Declaration. 5 questions, but 2 of them are really just the cap. The next is the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. This is 1791. That was 1776. So this is a little bit later on. This is during the French Revolution, so you got to think there's some inspiration that came off of the American Revolution, that came off of the Declaration of Independence. Number 6, in what ways are the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen similar to the Declaration of Independence? In what ways is it unlike? Again, you have to really kind of do your comparison here. What sort of similarities are you seeing? What are some things that are markedly different? Number 7, in what ways does the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen reflect key ideas of the Enlightenment? Very similar to a question you saw earlier here for number 1. But you're going to see some things that might be a little bit different. Next, what rights are guaranteed in this document? They're actually setting forth some rights that they want to have guaranteed under their new regime, under their new government. Give me some examples. And then 9 and 10 are the same. Just give me some sourcing, some cap. All these answers need to be in complete sentences. I'd say at least 1 complete sentence per question, but if it's a kind of a 2-part question, you're probably going to need more. But other than that, think of this as not only a good segue back into what we're studying, Enlightenment, political revolutions, but also just practice looking at historical documents. It's something we have to do a lot. You're going to have the remainder of class to work on this today. It is not technically due until tomorrow before midnight, but if you can get it done today, do it today. That being said, if you still haven't turned in your test review that was due on Friday, you're going to have to kind of weigh your options, but that may be something, if time permits, you might want to work on as well. And that is pretty much it today. Tomorrow, we're going to get into some Latin American revolutions. We'll kind of wrap up those and some other nationalist movements on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're getting into an entirely different sort of revolution, the Industrial Revolution. Any questions? It's morning time. I get it. All right, if you want to listen to your headphones, that's fine. I like to listen to my old band music up here. But of course, if you need anything, if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, this is something that if you work on it, you could easily get done today. You could walk out of here with this submitted. That is my goal. But if you need any help, let me know. Again, a lot of this stuff is your opinion. Just make sure it's well thought out and well explained. Good luck. If you need anything, I'm here for you.